It's time to mind your business with me, Jamillah Lodge. Tune in to find out how to mind your business with BEDC, special guest entrepreneurs, industry experts, and more. Brought to you by BEDC. Bermuda Business starts here. Welcome to Mind Your Business.
Thank you so much for having me.
You look beautiful, by the way.
As do you.
Yeah,
Love the necklace.
you. I'm loving the green. That's my new favorite color.
We clearly got the memo.
See?
Yes.
So you are Tyka France.
Correct.
And you are owner of 8 at 8.
Yes.
So we're going to talk a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey and the delicious products, which I have had the pleasure of enjoying. Before we do that, though, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So reel me in.
Yes.
We talked about if I go too far.
Okay.
So if I could sum up who I am,
Yes.
I am a playful, authentic, free kind of girl.
Okay.
Yeah. Those are important staples for me.
Yeah. And is that why you think you decided on entrepreneurship?
100%.
Okay.
100%. I think it was definitely like digging deep, dying a few times, like the versions that don't serve me, the armor that doesn't serve me, the thoughts of where I should be. Some of that had to die and be reborn. And I think who I know I should be, or who I was born as, let's say that, is exactly that. I'm playful, authentic, and free. And if I can't be that, I got to shift.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you decided to start 8 at 8, is it something that you always wanted to do, or did you have different iterations prior to settling on this one? Like, how did we get here?
Right. So a bit actually from the former question, it was dying a few times and recognizing where I needed to be. So journalism degree, physio degree, worked in physio for 5 years. Became the disgruntled worker, and that was not okay for me. And then I think there was a notion of disgruntled workers being normalized, it being the standard, counting retirement, counting to vacation. When is it Friday?
Yeah.
I was starting to eat that pie, and that wasn't okay for me. So it was about saying, I heard this recently on a Jay Shetty podcast, and it was just amazing. It's not even about what I was passionate about, but what am I obsessed with?
Okay.
It's like, obsession, food is my obsession. So I found myself, why am I dreaming about donuts?
Yeah.
Why am I how am I thinking about how to make this card, and why would I make it lavender, switching out? If I'm dreaming about that, that must be the dream that I was born to provide to the world.
Right.
So I think it became having a baby, having my daughter. That was a big, like, what am I showing her? Am I going to show her how to fit in? Am I going to show her security? Or am I going to show her off-beaten path, trailblazing? Am I going to show her freedom? Because I think we get confused with security and freedom. Yeah. Security is what we've taught to be that's palatable.
We need.
We need security. That. Like, that's sexy. Excuse my language. But freedom is completely different. I know people who earn well, who have the titles, and they are so far from free. Wow. They have security, but they're counting retirement. Yeah. I don't want to retire.
Right.
I want to be 90 and 100 and just like still at the stove. Yeah. However, whatever it takes. So I recognized what I didn't want to retire at, what I was obsessed with, and it became like super easy to identify, which was food.
That is... I'm like mind blown in like 2 seconds. No, that's really interesting to hear it put that way. You know what I mean? So going from a journalism degree and a physio degree, and now you're dreaming about donuts.
Yes.
Where did the culinary skill come from? Like, did you go to culinary school, or did you just get up and say, well, we're going to cook these donuts? And how did that happen?
Yeah, so I always say I'm a professional delinquent. So when I was in journalism, when I was in, actually I didn't even know how to cook in my first degree, by the way. Second degree, when I was at University of the West Indies in Jamaica, I had 2 best friends, and all I would do, because we had to do it, we studied a lot. Yeah. We were like extremely fervent in just study. And I was like, we got to make something fun in this like gruesome process. I just found myself retreating to the kitchen every time they're like, Teeks, this is not normal. And I'm just like, Really? No one thinks about how to make saltfish go into a donut? Like, no. And they're like, no, but we are reaping the benefits. Because it should. I think donuts should be savory with lobster sometimes.
Oh my God. Why not? Crepes are,
Why not? Right? Exactly. So I recognized that I was retreating to the stove every chance I could get.
Yeah.
But I was telling myself, no, you have to be a physio. This is, you're helping people, which is like the never-ending colloquialism we all believe. We must help people. But how? Your help may be inspiring someone in the form of a food item that they never dreamed could be possible. It doesn't have to be rehabilitation of an ACL tear. It doesn't have to be that. So it was my retreat into the kitchen. It was my recognizing that I was obsessed with cooking. And I think it was no longer being able to suppress what I was obsessed with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So by the time you got the degree with physio, did you do physio at all?
Yeah. I worked in the field for 5 years. Yeah, I did. Yeah. And I was passionate. I wasn't obsessed.
Yes.
I need to be obsessed.
It's funny because, you talk to people, it's like you follow your passion.
Yes.
We're not doing passions.
We're
doing obsession.
We're doing obsession.
Okay.
Yeah. Because when you look at Serena Williams and Kobe and Bryant, that is, and Beyonce, and whoever is great in whatever realm you're looking at, they are obsessed with what they do. Passion is, I could have a 9-to-5 and do this passionately on Saturday.
Yeah.
We need to be making donuts every day till you get it right.
Okay. Okay. Where we get the saltfish donuts? Where they at?
Soon. We're working on it.
Okay, so now we are here. You said, forget the physio. We starting this business. So talk to me a little bit about what that journey was like. Like when you finally said, I'm following this obsession. I'm going to do this.
Tumultuous is the word I would use.
Okay.
Gut-wrenching in a way. Very scary. But you get to meet the best version of who you are. You become extremely unpopular because what happens is, Teeks, what you doing on a Friday night? Donuts. And my thing is more when you start to hire staff, how you get to show up has everything to do with what you did the day before. So for me, it's about energy expenditure. So if I go out, drink a bottle of wine, which I no longer drink because of being a business owner and being a mother, but if I go out and drink a bottle of wine, that energy expenditure is what I can give to staff. Because what happens is when you have a dream and you want to inspire someone else to help to cultivate and harness and water and seed your dream, you have to think about how to galvanize that in someone external. And in order to do that, you got to be on form.
Yeah.
So I think it was being unpopular. That was like one of the things. I was okay with that.
Yeah.
Always been fine. Yeah. Like I don't care to be popular, right?
Yeah.
But like unpopular, and always willing to dig deep. Like, what's my why? That's my constant question. What is my why? How do I create what my why is and allow that to be seen through external eyes?
Right.
So it was jumping full-fledged in, if I'm really being honest with you. It was ordering my nut machine, using every single bit of my savings, letting security deuces, because I had no security.
Right.
And I had beautiful family support, which I still have. Family support. I couldn't do without my family. Okay. Yeah. No, an amazing husband to be, an amazing, beautiful child, mom-in-law, mother. They just root for me. So I think it's because of those staples that I'm able to.
Okay.
But also my why, I think, is so piercing that I wouldn't have it any other way.
Right.
So I think I was able to enroll my support system in my why and then have that support.
And they saw it. They were like, she obsessed. So,
yeah, she's obsessed. Correct. Exactly.
She gonna do it.
We just this is the 4th day you did that. Did you take a break? Yeah, it could be 11 o'clock and I'd still be ready to go again. Literally last night I'm working on a recipe. Do I put custard in? And it was 10 o'clock and I'm like, should I let the yeast bloom again? And it's just like,
it's amazing to me because people straight up go to culinary school the same way you went to physio and all that kind of stuff. And then you are just dreaming up stuff and trying it. And then on the other end, it comes out and it's something that people actually want to pay you for.
Yeah. And actually that part right there is the part that I still have to pinch myself about and still have to, I think, inject belief into. Because I think if I were to ask, there's this beautiful Henry Ford. It's not a quote, but it's like a notion that if he listened to what customers wanted, they would have said faster horses.
Right.
What they needed was cars.
Right.
Right? So for me, it's not even about looking at the temperature of Bermuda and saying, most people, when I ask them what, like, or they'll tell me, you should open a restaurant. That's the last thing I want to do.
Right.
I have no interest. Love that we have those Staples white napkin experiences.
Yeah.
I love that. I want to kick my feet up and do that sometimes. They are beautiful in what they create. 888 has no place being a restaurant, at least for now, in what I see. And so I think it is just drumming that up and being able to just give that some go. And
I think that's important too, though, as an entrepreneur, is to recognize your lane and to not be persuaded to step outside of it despite what others are saying.
1,000%.
You know what I mean?
1,000%.
And it's hard to do that
Yes.
because at the end of the day, yes, you want the freedom, but you still also want to be able to provide for yourself and your family in that freedom. So sometimes it's like your customers are saying, this is what we want. And so you're like, well, that's not really what I want. So how do you balance it and bring the two together so you're still being obsessive and being able to be free, and then the customer is still being able to experience that.
You are good at what you do. No, because that's my, like, right now today.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally my right now today. Like, I'm looking at reforming some things, changing some offerings. But when you get people that say, okay, what is your offering? Can you send me a menu list? My response is politely, no.
Right.
I can send you a sample menu that I've done in the past, but there is no one menu that has ever been duplicated. That is what I pride myself in. Because if I get to know you and I know that you love olive green, and I think about how that can translate in food artistry, for you, that's specific for you. But if you tell me that I need to have a specific menu that I repeat every day in a restaurant kind of environment, I legit, sis, can't do it.
Right.
I get, there are people who can, and I love that they can.
Right.
But I have done other people's lanes before, and I love this one quote that says, if you try to be someone else, you're not there and neither are they.
Oh, girl.
Sleep, right? Like, go and sleep and not. Like, my thing is, I can only be where I'm at.
Yeah.
So it is a challenge of enrolling people in really what you provide and what the dream is, because they can't see your dream because it was given to you. They can't see it.
They can't.
So that is my right now. Like, when I engage a client and they say, hey, can you send me your price list? And hey, what's your, like, just the square box things? I'm like, none of that exists. What I can show you is I can show you in a Zoom call who I am and what I can create. And I want to know about why you love your husband. And I want to know about why you love the color red and why he engaged you. Like, I want to know that so that the spread can speak exactly to who you are. And I think that's my niche, is being able to storytell.
I want to hear you, or want people to hear what you actually provide. Like, what is 888, right? Because I know I've had the nuts, right? I've seen your beautiful, you catered a party at Orange Bay, and that was gorgeous.
Thank
so
you.
I was there, it was beautiful. So I've seen you do these things. So what, in your description of what 888 is, what is it?
So 888 is food performance and artistry.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's taking elements that wouldn't usually exist and being able to give it a framework for them to become alive, which is why we and no offense, I love, when people serve piping hot food and the cheese is dripping, I love that, which is why we don't serve food that is contained in any kind of element of a box. So that'd be a chafing dish, or like we serve food so that the experience is had before it is palated, right? Okay. So when you see the food, it's a complete portrait. It's not elements of a portrait. So I would say it's food performance, it's food artistry. It's, I think, a chasm of being able to tap into food cultures around the world. Like, I always say that Bermudan people, we are safe eaters. We want the peas and rice. We don't want that touching the coleslaw, and the beet juice better not drip. It just needs to be separate.
Right.
I don't believe in that.
Right.
Like, I believe in the chick who is making donuts out of New York City that have ube filling, and she has piped mascarpone, just creating a vision, like lemon curd, lavender, like using the elements, like, using the elements around.
Yeah.
Like, I think we tend to stick to what we know. But if I can tell you what's going to be at every single baby shower, christening, I'm bored.
Right.
I'm bored. And so I don't know that my offering is something yet that people know they want, because I think they're kind of afraid a little bit too, and they don't really understand it. I don't always understand it. It just comes. Like I'm just kind of like, you know, the vessel. But I know that I'm obsessed about it, and I know that, like Henry Ford, if I give them restaurant, when I know they really need an experience that I can curate, then I would be doing a disservice to me, and I think the creator who gifted me the dream.
Yeah. That's amazing. I mean, I think hearing you explain it as food performance and food art is very much what I saw and what I experienced. And I think it's definitely a niche for you, because it's going to be unique to whoever your client is, right?
Correct. Like when I ask a client, can I have your mama's number? They're like, what? I'm like, no, I need like Mom Dukes, I need her number. I need her number because I need to know who you were at 5.
Right.
Because I want to tap into childhood through the spread. I want to tap into what you love first, what you balance on your palate first. Like, I want to know you through food. Right. Like, I don't need to know, like, you know, what you, like, do at night. But I need to know certain elements about you that can translate on the spread.
That is... Look, I'm thinking people probably be like, what?
Yeah.
What is she doing? So we're doing that. You're doing the consultation, because that's what it sounds like it is to me, right? And then we decide, or you're coming up with what you're going to do. And you talk to Mom.
Yes.
And so we're at the final event, whatever it is, a baby shower, wedding, bridal party. And what has been your response from your clients once they get to experience the food performance?
Sometimes speechless. What has been the response? Like, how did you? How did you do this? And I've even had like I did Black Girls Pool. Shout out to Black Girls Pool. But I did Black Girls Pool in July, and she cried.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, because for her, like the menu, like I name every dish, right? So when I talk through the menu, and there's that piece of storytelling, and her journey in entrepreneurship, and in donning black skin and owning a womb, that meant something for her. And respectfully, that's what a set menu can't give someone.
That is very true.
The storytelling piece. So I think the storytelling piece is where people are engaged. They're like excited to like, can I try this? My favorite thing is, I don't like shrimp. Okay. Are you going to be daring enough to try it? And then they come back and they're like, I have something to tell you. I like shrimp.
I like it when you do it. Everybody else.
It's not always 100% like they love every single thing on the spread, but I think the portrait piece and most of the items, like they really are enrolled in the spread.
Yeah, because basically you've represented them in this food, right? Yeah. So it's like a physical representation of the things that you've heard, the things that you've learned when you've gone through that consultation.
100%.
So that is that's all experience, right? Which is fabulous. And I can't say that I'm aware of anything like that here. So when you think about 888 currently in its current state, and then you think about what it could be in the future. Now, we've said restaurant is not in it necessarily. What is for you? What do you see it being?
I get butterflies.
You do?
Yeah. You know what? Let me speak to the element that people don't recognize what I'm trying to cultivate. So on my way here, I was looking at the beautiful gentleman preparing sushi. Yeah. And I was looking down on this performance. Yeah. Because that's the way I see things, right? Like a 5-year-old. Like I channeled the 5-year-old that I was. And he was rolling and slicing. And they were working in melody, symphony, efficiency, performance. And I was like, those are the elements that I want 888 to produce in the people that become my staff. What I find a lot, so this is my first year of hiring. Whew,
I know. That's a whole different thing, isn't
that's it? A whole nother. Swallow. Breathe. And what I recognize is, in order for the person to help cultivate, weed the dream, they have to have elements of what I saw today. So part of what I want 888 to be is this container without walls that the young 17-year-old that attends Barkley, she can come, learn eye contact, learn how to sell, the art of selling, why she sells, I want her to know efficiency, that she's not moving like molasses because she really wants to watch Netflix, that she doesn't care about being cute over being empowering. I want her or him to be able to come through 888 and So Not Sharon and whatever other brand is birthed out of that and learn standards that exist elsewhere in the world.
Right.
Because the one thing I say as a proud Bermudian woman is that our standards here in terms of the way we do things is tomorrow will do.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is go and ask for a glass of water or a bottle of water and meet the person that's disgruntled and feels like because they're disgruntled and hate what they do, that's your problem.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So my thing is being able to, let me just go there, being able to hire local, not because I don't enjoy having diversity. I love Toronto and cities who they embrace diversity.
Right.
There is nothing more that makes me happy than being in a diverse culture. But to the point where I'm having to hire outside of the locals because I want efficiency.
Right.
That's what I want 888 to help to mend that, to be able to stitch that together and say, no. If I'm hiring outside of my local community, it's because any other reason, but not because I default had to.
Right.
So I want to be able to create standards, not even just through food, but through beingness and through people and who people are and how they show up.
Okay.
Like when I talk to my staff, I'm like, all right, guys, we're on the court. We're on the court. How do you sell?
Yeah.
You sell by confiding in self, being confident. Confidence is literally confiding in self. The self-work you do, people say, how do you sell nuts to someone that didn't even like peanuts?
Right.
It's because I confide in self as much as I can. I don't have confident moments all day, every day, but I work on confidence in ways that maybe other people don't.
And they taste good.
But this is the thing. How do you get someone to even taste when they think that they hate it?
They smell good. You smell them and you be like, I don't like nuts, but
right. But then you have the person, I don't like almonds. Have you had them cured in a syrup and then hardened and then caramelized and then given back to you with cake batter flavoring? People are so solid in what they think they believe that even that I know that when they try it, 90% people love the nuts.
Yes.
But it's getting that translation to say, how do I motion myself to actually ignite in you the want to even try?
Right.
Because sometimes people offer you something free and you're like, it's free, so it must not be valuable.
Yeah.
So it's that, learning the art of selling, learning that when they exchange the dollar amount, that the value that they get in return is substantially higher than the money they paid.
Right. I'm listening to you and I get it because we have these conversations with entrepreneurs all the time and they be like, oh, hiring, Lord, help. But I also think that it's how you show up for them. You know what I mean?
100%.
Because like you said, sometimes people are like, they just want me here, a living, breathing body to do the thing, give me a little bit of something or another. But you're not investing in me. You're not pouring into me. You haven't asked what I think. You don't value my opinion. So why should I put any extra effort into it? So I really do think that from an entrepreneurial perspective, that you have to be willing, like you said, to show up for them. You're like, I don't even drink no more. Because I have to be present for my staff. And I do think that as humans, we feed off of that energy.
100%.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you give, okay, I'm going to give too.
Absolutely.
And I do think that sometimes is missed because a lot of people are focused more on the bottom line and less about freedom. Right?
You're preaching. Yeah.
You're preaching. I'm repeating what you said.
No. You're dropping jams.
Because I think, and that's really, really important, especially as you enter this entrepreneurial journey, which is all over. It's up and down and side to side. And so how do you stay the course? And now to be able to expand, you got to hire.
Yes. And I try to avoid in that as long as I could. And then I said to myself, Tika, what's your why?
Yeah.
What's your why? I'm a walking quote. I love quotes because quotes make sense, make life make sense to me. So there was this thing I heard that if your dream only enhances your life, say goodbye to it. If your dream enhances the lives around you, then that's something that we can work with. So when I hire staff and I say, hey guys, I want us to do all black. I want us to, when people tip the tip jar, kiss and cozy, so much drip, and you tippy dippy dip. I want them to receive value beyond what they've exchanged in monetary value.
Right.
In order for me to do that, I have to show up as that.
Yeah.
So I can't show up hi guys.
No, yeah.
No, I have to be the energy that I want to see embodied in my team.
Yeah.
So even if it's just me singing Kiss and Cozy So Much Dripping, even if it's just me, I get to show by example what it is. And in interviews, the first thing I tell them is, if who you are as a person does not align with what I'm asking you to do, please gracefully always let me know, and you are free to go, because freedom is who I like to be. Yeah. So I'm not asking you to do something that doesn't align with who you are, with the skill set that you want to develop. I'm saying to me, what can you develop in your skill set that you wouldn't be able to develop without 888?
Right.
Or an entity that allows you to have that freedom. So what skill set can you learn? Like when I went into Harbor Night this past season, first season with Harbor Night, my staff was like, Teeks, I think we need samples. And I was like, little ego, like, people always want free stuff, man. And then, sometimes when you get it for free, you think the value is not there. And I'm like, had I not been given samples, we wouldn't have had half the juice that we have. Because the tourists, I ask them, hey, have you had the best nuts you've ever tasted today? What can you say to that?
Right. Like, no, I haven't. Where did you do that?
Exactly.
Right.
So my thing is learning from staff, that skill set.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, like I can't be anything without my staff.
And how valued do they feel that you listen?
Exactly.
Right?
Teeks, I think this is off. I'm like, okay, let's implement that immediately.
Yeah.
Samples are starting now today.
Right. Yeah.
That's the kind of person I am.
They are delicious.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So it's like you can say less and just be like, put this in your mouth.
Right.
But no, I think that you're sharing some important lessons that maybe not everybody reaches or learns early on.
Yeah.
And I think it's just that's just how you move, right? That's what I'm seeing anyway from when you entered into this entrepreneurial journey. And the key tenet being freedom, right?
Yes.
How can you do that? And how can you create that level of freedom for someone else?
Right.
That is so
That's important.
powerful.
That's really important to me. Like, I don't want any of my and the whole thing is, you're the boss. No, I'm not. I don't have any dominion over you. I have been given a dream by the creator. And in order for me to let the dream materialize, I need to be able to connect with people who can help till the soil.
Yes.
I don't own you. I'm not a boss, right? So my thing is, when we talk about staff and the team, it's about giggling and laughing. I want efficiency, though. I want sushi made. I want sushi. Excuse me. I want the level of like the sushi maker, right? I want efficiency. Like, we're gonna do 12-hour days.
Right.
I don't get home to 2:00 a.m. sometimes, being up from 4 a.m.
Wow.
The bags are heavy under the eyes. However, let's have fun.
Yeah.
Who did you become while you were doing it? Like, my mantra this year is be, do, have. In order for me to have the business that is sexy and robust and something people have never seen before, I have to become the person and do the great things in order to be able to have that.
Right.
So I always ask staff, who do you get to become today? Who do you get to become during the Harbor Night season or during this event? Did you learn to speak up? Did you learn eye contact? Who do you get to become? What parts of you died?
Yeah.
Right? That you didn't need anymore.
Right.
Yeah?
Right.
So it's the be, do, have thing for us at 888. Yeah.
So what is it going to be? Where are we going? Where do you see 888 going and growing into?
Yes. So hiring at present.
Okay.
I'm looking at tapping into the corporate market, being my whimsical, playful, authentic, free self, keeping those staples always. And I'm thinking of something really, really dope as to how I enter that, because truth be told, I mean, I try to keep it as real as I can. Corporate markets feels a little bit like visiting someone in jail. I'm not trying to be funny. I mean,
I can understand that for someone that is all about freedom and just this whole experience. They're like, wait,
I don't get it. I don't like. There is no gold in here that I want to take. I don't want to take. I just want to land and connect. I don't want to take anything.
Right.
But sometimes you call and. Have you called? Like, it's like the good morning, like that whole act. And I'm just like, you know what you guys need is a treat from me. I think to just take you to happy hour. The freedom piece that maybe you don't gift yourself in a day, and that's why I say it's more than food. It's when you're sitting away typing for 9 hours and you haven't looked up and would you just love a treat that could take you to Disneyland or can take you to a nostalgic time that you've already had? Like, that is what I'm looking at rendering. So when people say it's more than food, I'm looking at the mentation of my client in the corporate market and figuring out what it is that I think that they need and what they can actually excel from having. So corporate market by means of food experiences, but also that's something extra that I haven't put into, I haven't really thought about what it will be, but that token of here's 8 at 8 in your office. And what does that look like while I'm not there?
Got you.
So I know that that's super like
ethereal.
I got you. Okay,
Like I'm very visual, so everything you say, I'm like picturing in my head, and I'm like, I got you.
Yeah, so it's that. It's so not Sharon. With sure, I bought you some today, but so not Sharon. Becoming a storefront, of course.
Yeah.
And what I see with that is my college students, my high school students, running that baby, learning again the art of sales, learning how to manage. I want, like, so not sure and be to be truthful. I want to be completely hands off of that because I'm passionate about the recipe, but I don't need to be passionate about the actual productivity, like the actual functionality of it, I should say. I would love to have high school students, college students run that baby. Yeah. I would love that.
That sounds awesome. I mean, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, yes, we would subscribe to that.
Exactly. So Harbor Night, we started with Harbor Night, which is now done. So grateful to Corporation of Hamilton and for the all of the players in that. That was like such a thrilling experience. It was amazing. Learned how to drive stick shift randomly. Yeah. Like the things that people don't know the things that you get to do. Right? But it would be similar to Ash's Lemonade. Shout out to Ash's. I love those guys. Yeah. Similar to how they have that street presence. Correct. So not Sharon, we'll be having talks about that come fall.
Oh, yes.
So that as a precursor to actual storefront, which will have 8 at 8 whimsical artistry, throwing glitter in the back. Yeah. But then having so not Sharon in the front where you can actually see the nuts churned, smell cinnamon, smell the cake batter, see it made, hear the tip jingle. Like I want it to be a vibe. Yeah. So that's what I see for so not Sharon. But for 8 at 8, I just want staff and us to do it bigger, but also not exchanging bigger for quality. Right. So
still focusing on those same tenets, like who are you? Let us get a representation of you. And from a corporate perspective, you can be like, well, what is your corporate culture? Because they have them. You know what I mean?
What is your ethos? Yeah, I want to tap into that. I have a corporate client that I'm preparing for in 2 weeks' time. And I asked for the entire sheet. Yeah. What's your ethos? What's your colors? Those things matter. Like you have no idea how me seeing someone with red lipstick on translates to a spread, right? Or just any little thing, because art is up for interpretation. Yeah. And that's the freedom piece that I love most. So so not Sharon and 8 at 8 booth.
You need your own podcast, okay?
No, I could not. Like you need brilliant.
Your own. I'm like, she has dropped gems and diamonds and all of the things.
I appreciate it.
And we're at the end of our 30-minute time, but I would love for you to just share with anyone who's listening, who's considering entrepreneurship, like what would be your words of encouragement for them?
It came right to me actually. Learn how to think. Because I think when we enter, from preschool and primary school, we learn how to stay in the box. We exchange the art of learning to think for learning formulas and how to reproduce and how to regurgitate. But entrepreneurship is about learning how to think. Like thinking about how to get a solution, how to be causal in the world, how to be seen, all of those things. It just comes down to learning how to think. I think that's the best piece of advice. And definitely be prepared for versions of you that don't serve you dying.
Just get rid of them.
For sure.
Kick them to their curb.
Absolutely. And the other thing I would say too, which I would admit I do have sometimes, I do struggle with this piece is, so I always say, you don't expect perfection out of life because it doesn't expect perfection out of you. Right. In entrepreneurship, you're going to really realize how imperfect you are. Yeah. You're going to be real imperfect at times. Like when you forget the whole nuts. Like how you forget the nuts and you're not like, how you explain that? But when you have 20 things and you're organizing staff and a truck is coming like what? But you don't expect perfection out of life. Entrepreneurship will show you exactly how imperfect you are, but you gain for that in so many other ways. But I think too, it's I think this notion of you get to be a magician because you get to see, you get to believe what you have not seen.
I love the way you frame things and the way you put the words together. I don't know if that's that journalism background or what.
That's how it show up. Well, I listen to a lot of podcasts, like the Jay Shetty's and Myron Golden's. Like, and that's what I don't really watch much TV, but that's what I attune to. So I think it is that piece. And thank you for saying that of believing it first and seeing it later. We think we have to see it to believe it. Right. And that is one of the most untrue things. In order to have a business, you have to see all types of craziness that you have not you have to believe, right. It's not there yet. Like I have to see when people walk in the shop wafting the nuts and oh my gosh, salted cake, but like I have to see it. You have to be a little bit crazy. You gotta be a little bit like a little bit. You gotta see things that's not there. Right, you have to. Right. So I think those are the things that I would say.
I love that, Tyka. Thank you, girl, for minding your business with us today.
Thank you for having me.
If people want these nuts, if they want this food experience, please let them know how they can reach you.
Sure. So my email is as whimsical as I am, which is they8at8@gmail.com.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of hard to say, but it is also on my social media platform. I have Instagram, which is 8at8. Okay. You'll see a lady with a turban. You'll know it's me. Absolutely.
That's you.
And so fall season, we're looking at kiosk, street presence, street cart for fall season, and then storefront in time. Yes.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
You're more than welcome.
Thanks for tuning in to Mind Your Business with me, your host, Jamillah Lodge. Tune in next week, Thursday at 4 p.m. because if you don't mind your business, who will? Mind Your Business is brought to you by BEDC. Bermuda Business starts here.